Today we will be looking at what is known as delegation of authority. Delegation of authority is an organizational process wherein the manager divides his work among the subordinates and gives them the responsibility to accomplish the respective tasks. Under the delegation of authority, the manager does not surrender his authority completely, but only shares certain responsibility with the subordinates and delegates only that much authority which is necessary to accomplish the responsibility. Or we can say that it involves assigning duties, entrusting authority, and imposing responsibility on subordinates. So, delegation involves sharing of work and authority with others. A manager does not pass on his entire work and authority to his subordinates. If he does so, his managerial position becomes empty, with no work and no authority. He always retains some authority which he exercises himself. He retains the authority to take important decisions and the authority to supervise and control the activities of his subordinates. Like if you look at the diagram, we have at the top level management, they delegate authority to the middle level, who in turn delegates to the lower level, and they in turn delegate to the workers. So authority is transmitted from the top level to the bottom level. Now what are the features of delegation? See, if you look at the features, delegation of authority is based on the principle of division of work. Actually, no manager can perform the entire work himself. So he gets part of the work done by his subordinates. In fact, getting things done by subordinates is an essential aspect of a manager's job. Then, delegation of authority is always done within certain limits. While delegating authority, a manager defines the limits within which his subordinates can exercise their authority. Delegation of authority does not mean that you abdicate your responsibility. After delegating authority, a manager remains responsible for the work for which he has been assigned to his subordinates. That means the manager cannot say that I did not do it. Delegation of authority a superior exercises control to ensure that the subordinates are using the authority in the proper manner. A person can delegate authority only when he himself has the authority. So when a manager, he is having the authority and that he is delegating to his subordinates. Delegation does not mean avoiding decisions. A manager delegates authority for routine matters which are of a repetitive nature so that he can concentrate on more important matters. Delegation of authority is a systematic process rather than an arbitrary ad hoc exercise. So it is guided by the activities. Okay? Then delegation of authorities is the essential part of organizing and managing. A manager is guided and coordinated. He coordinates the activities of his subordinates. Delegation involves downward transfer of authority from a superior to the subordinate, as we have seen from that diagram. From the top level, it goes to the bottom level. So top level management delegates authority to middle level, then it goes to the lower level, and ultimately it reaches the workers. Now if you look at the advantages, first of all, there is benefit of specialization. Delegation enables the manager to utilize the specialized knowledge and experience of the persons at the lower level. So the people at the lower level, they keep on doing the same work again and again, and they become specialized in doing the work. Then relief to top executives. Now top executives are overburdened. So when they delegate a part of their responsibility or authority to the lower level, it is a relief to them, and they can concentrate on more important matters. Scalar chain. Delegation of authority creates a chain of superior subordinate relationships. It directs and regulates the flow of authority from the top to the bottom of the organization structure. So it creates a managerial hierarchy. Then expansion and diversification. As delegation provides the means of extending and multiplying the limited capacity of the superior, it encourages the expansion and diversification of the business. So the manager can concentrate more on expansion and diversification rather than undertaking routine work. Executive development. Delegation permits the subordinates to develop their skills and competence. By forcing the subordinates to assume greater responsibilities and to make important decisions, the superior insists on the development of the subordinates' executive talents. So the subordinates also develop executive talents, and that leads to they may be promoted later on to a higher level. Prompt decisions. When authority is delegated, subordinates can take decisions quickly without consulting their superiors, because some amount of authority is given to them. Sense of recognition. Delegation gives a feeling of status and recognition to the subordinates when they do the work, and it creates a sense of recognition in them. Delegation promotes the sense of responsibility in the subordinates. It motivates them to work more efficiently. Now, if you look at the elements of delegation of authority, see, first of all, what is authority? Authority is the right or power assigned to an executive or a manager in order to achieve certain organizational objectives. A manager will not be able to function efficiently without proper authority. Authority is delegated from above but must be accepted from below, that is by the subordinates. Okay, so that is authority. Now if you look at the elements of delegation of authority, first of all you assign tasks and duties. First of all, a manager defines the duties or jobs to be performed by subordinates. Then granting of authority. Granting authority means giving the right to the subordinates to decide and act, to use necessary resources, and to represent his superior. So the subordinates to whom authority is granted are empowered to decide and act on behalf of the manager. So we give authority to your subordinate. Next is creation of responsibility and accountability. The moment you give authority, the person becomes responsible and accountable also. Once duties are assigned and authority is granted, subordinates are made responsible for carrying out the duties assigned to them. Responsibility is the obligation of a subordinate to whom a duty is assigned to the subordinate. Okay? And he is supposed to do what the superior tells. Now, these are the elements of authority. Now let's come to centralization and decentralization. So what is the meaning of centralization? Centralization actually means a systematic and consistent retention or concentration of authority for decision making at the top level or higher levels of management. That means the higher level management or the top level management, they retain the authority to take decisions. An organization is said to be centralized when top management retains absolute authority for taking almost all decisions. In a centralized organization, all decisions on specific matters are taken by one or a few managers at the top level. In such an organization, very little authority is delegated to managers at the middle and the lower level. So the middle and the lower level managers, they don't have any power. The top level managers only have the power to take decisions. That is centralizations. So the middle and the lower level managers, they have to depend on the top management for instructions and guidance in their day-to-day activities. They are expected to show no initiative and freedom in the day-to-day activities. The top management exercises strict supervision and control over all the activities in the organization. So that is what is known as centralization. So centralization means concentration of power at the top. Okay? That power is concentrated at the top. Full centralization means the minimum autonomy and the maximum restrictions on operations of the units of the organization. Centralized organizations can be very effective with their work. Employees of a centralized organization have a well-defined framework within which their work is to be done. For example, in the military we have a centralized organization structure. Now the opposite of that is decentralization. What is decentralization? In a decentralized concern, authority is retained by the top management for taking major decisions and framing policies concerning the whole organization. But the rest of the authority may be delegated to the middle and the lower level management. The degree of decentralization is determined by the authority given. Decentralization is a result of delegation of authority. It is not the same as delegation. In fact, decentralization is all about extension of delegation. Okay, so in decentralization, what is happening is that the top management retains the authority for taking major decisions, and top management also retains authority for overall coordination and control, and but the routine affairs are done by the lower level and the middle level management. So centralization and decentralization actually are opposite terms. They should not be confused with the location of work. An organization having branches in different cities may be centralized. Similarly, a company may be decentralized even though all its offices are located in one building. Centralization and decentralization are relative terms. No organization can be completely centralized or completely decentralized. They exist together and there is need for a balance between the two. So we will see the degree of centralization and the degree of decentralization. And if you look at the differences between centralization and decentralization, see, in centralization, concentration of authority at top level of management, and in decentralization, dispersal of authority at all levels of management takes place. In centralization, the role of subordinates is minimum. In decentralization, role of subordinates is maximum. In centralization, the main purpose is to ensure control and coordination. In decentralization, the main purpose is to speed up decisions and to motivate and develop subordinates. In centralization, burden on top executives is very heavy because they have to take the major decisions. Whereas in decentralization, the burden on the top executives is very low. In centralization is more suitable for small organizations, and decentralization is more suitable for large organizations. So, your communication flow in centralized your organization is vertical flow takes place, and in decentralization open communication is there. So these are the differences between centralization and decentralization. And what is the importance of decentralization? First of all, we have reduction in the burden of top executives. Then, as you can understand, then motivation of the subordinates because they are assigned work, so they are motivated to complete the work. Then better decisions can be taken because more people are involved and authority is given to the lower level management also. Then it leads to innovation and creativity also. Then it leads to development of managers because lower level managers, since they are given authority to do work, they become accustomed to that work and they can do it again and again. Then there is effective your communication. In decentralization, the span of organization is wider and there are fewer levels of organization. So therefore communication is more effective. Then it leads to efficient supervision and control, and it is more democratic also. Decentralization distributes decision making authority at all levels and in all departments. Therefore it creates democracy in the management of the organization. Okay.